Okay, Unit 2 is, there's only a word different. It's developing teaching, learning and assessment in education and training.
Yes.
So there's quite a lot of similarities and crossovers in this unit that you're going to be able to use. Excuse me. So it's, again, analyse the application of pedagogical principles in your own area of specialism.
Yes.
So that's the concept of specialist knowledge, experiential learning, kinesthetic principles, multisensory models, autonomy of learning, mastery of learning, and supported learning. Excuse me. That's 1.1 and 1. Where's it gone? So it's basically an analysis of the teaching principles that you use in teaching your day-to-day situation.
Okay.
It's almost a bit like if you're on Unit 3, it looked at professionalism. Yeah? Well, it's the same thing. Those pedagogical principles are about professionalism and the way and principles that you use in your teaching day-to-day situation.
Yes.
And again, it's evaluating the effectiveness and use of creative, innovative approaches in your own area of specialism. So again, you've covered some of this already, where you've had specific learners that needed special resources or special ways of actually learning, and you've outlined that before. So if you check back on what you've looked at on there, there is evidence that you can actually use or refer to from that unit.
So Unit 3, you were saying, sorry?
Yeah. Now, use initial diagnostic assessments to agree learners' individual goals and learning preferences. Cross-reference to Unit 1, learning objectives 2.3, 2.4, but make sure you included learning styles.
Learning styles, yes.
Yeah, which I think you did, actually.
Yes, I did. It covered that, so I just put a paragraph.
You did it quite comprehensively, as far as I can remember. So yeah, it will probably work pretty well, that one.
Yeah.
Again, your scheme of work. Refer to copies of your scheme of work at Unit 1, 3.1.
I ended up putting a couple of pointers extra in the scheme of work to cover this, because there were the odd bits that might not have been covered.
Yeah, well, I've said always check your cross-reference and check that what you said meets those 3 points, yeah?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it'll cross-reference pretty much all, but it may need an additional paragraph or so just to actually clarify what the points are asking in the assessment criteria. Yeah?
Exactly, yes.
And again, copies of your learning plans, ILPs, Unit 1, 3.2, checking again your text there that meets individual goals and needs. I'm pretty sure it does. Learning preferences of all learners and curriculum requirements. Yeah?
Yeah.
You may need to add something about curriculum requirements as far as I can recollect on that, but that's pretty well straightforward. Yeah?
Yeah.
2.4, look for opportunities for learners to provide feedback. Now, the groups you were teaching before didn't actually give any form of documented feedback, did they?
No, they didn't, no.
But I think you explained pretty well how you got feedback off them somewhere. Yeah. I remember reading it, yeah.
And then I put in an extra paragraph saying that I could get feedback off my colleagues and, depending on the age of the students, their parents and so on, like that.
Because it actually says on the identify opportunities for learners and others to provide feedback. So it's not just learners, it's also others. So that's where you've done any teaching observations, any of your colleagues, meeting with colleagues, anything of that nature, where you've received feedback from someone else. To inform inclusive practice. It's not very well set out, this one, is it? It jumped. I could do that. Oops, jumped up there altogether.
See, the boxes never work the way you want them to.
Well, I know what I've done wrong, yeah. When I was making this one, they should all go across like that.
Right.
between the difference. I'll put you right. I can fix it afterwards. Again, analyse, evaluate. Use initial and diagnostic assessments, cross-reference. Schemes of work, cross-reference. Design teaching and learning, ILPs, cross-reference.
Yeah.
Identify opportunities for learners to provide feedback. Looking at 3.5, noting on the others, yeah. Explain how your own practice in planning, inclusive teaching and learning is taking into account theories and principles and models of learning and communication and assessment. Now, reference to Unit 3, yeah?
Yeah, I've referenced it to Unit 1, LO8, 8.1, and also Unit 3, LO5, 5.2.
That's more likely right, because if I remember, 8.1 and 8.2 are not exactly right, that.
No, it was only 8.1 sort of touched upon it, but LO5, 5.2 was more or less just having to add a little bit onto.
Oops. I'll change that for now. That was one of the reasons that I wrote a lot of these before I actually decided we're going to change around the delivery and do 3 first, because I realised that 3 stepped into a lot of others, yeah?
That's true, because it does have, because a lot of it cross-references into Unit 1 as well. Remember,
yeah, it does, yeah.
Odd bits, yeah.
Analyse theories of behaviour management. We hadn't got those in Unit 3, but there's a bit about it in Unit 1, but also there's some reading material on there. I know I've put some handouts together on there for you on that. So it's analyse some of the theorists on behaviour management. So, but if necessary, after you've read what I've got on the VLE, if you need any further information, do it either like Google theories of behaviour management in learning and see what comes up.
Okay.
Establish and sustain a safe, inclusive learning environment, cross-reference LO1 4.3.
Have we done that already in Unit 1, a safe learning environment? Yeah.
Cross-reference.
You've written it on, aren't you? Sorry. I just got it. Yeah.
It's fresh for you now, because you've only just done the learning Unit 1, so it's, you'll think, oh, I already said that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, then I realised that you'd already written it down there.
Yeah. Explain your own practice in creating that safe environment as taking into account theories of behaviour management. So you've looked at just like in Unit 3, you've done a theory here.
Yes.
Took a bit one in between here, which you can cross-reference, and then explain how your own practice meets any of these theories. Yeah. Of behaviour management. Yeah.
And then there was that might match something that I've already done. Physically, it was when I had to implement, because I had a child that had a lot of behaviour issues, and I had to implement learning plans and behaviour strategies, so I could talk about that, couldn't I?
A specialist management pack, Yeah. That's what they have. One of the SEN colleges that I had some teachers with, they had especially what they called a specialist pack, which included behaviours, issues, everything that was around that particular pupil.
Okay. Oh.
Explain your own practice is taking into account theories of behaviour management, so that's your theories, yeah. Again, design resources, It should be in LO1 5.3. But you may need to check your response meets those 2 criteria specifically,
Okay.
And 4.2, demonstrate flexibility and adaptability. Refer to schemes of work and lesson plans at Unit 1 and 3 and explain where this is demonstrated if you did not already cover it there. But also, if you've got any, the command verb here is demonstrate, Well, you can demonstrate by explaining or describing how you do something, but it's also be part of your teaching observation,
Okay.
So as long as the teaching observation has got some reference to that, and it should, then you can use that as evidence as well. Demonstrate ways to promote equality and value diversity. Again, show how Unit 1, 4.2 is actually applied, yeah?
Yes.
I mean, lots of places have policies for this, that and the other, but are they being applied? Are they actually being used? Yeah, it's a favourite one, that. Again, communicate with learners, learning professionals and others to meet the individual needs and encourage progression. So again, Unit 1, 3.5 and 6.6, checking content, plus any records, IV reports, meetings, minutes, audio-visual records, anything at all you can add there, to show your communication methods that you've used with learners and learning professionals, yeah.
I've got, it's not something I've used, but it's something that my son's tutors use with him a lot, where he gets, when he's done good work, he'll get little postcards that he'll bring home, and so I've taken them, just in advance, I took a load of pictures of them with like certificates and things, so can I use something like that? As, yeah, okay, thank you.
Have they got his name on?
Yes, but I put a little piece of paper on top of his name, so that, to cover it, yes. I was telling you I was going crazy last week. Didn't have enough to do.
And 4.5, explain how your own delivery of inclusive teaching and learning is taking into account theories, principles and models of learning and communication. Now you've got the reflective bit at 8.1 in learning objective 1, but also you've got Unit 3 now to add to that, yeah? Yeah. I'll add that on. Oh, don't want to do that. Right. What do we do? How do we do that? I can't remember. No, it's not that one. Let's just move you over here a bit.
I get so good at using the Word while I'm doing any type of studying, but once I don't touch it for a little while, it's like I forget everything.
Yeah, I know. It's like everything else. Unless you're a bit of an IT expert, it's not something that you're really interested in. You're more interested in the work that you do.
Exactly.
It's just a means to an end, a tool, if you like, for you and me. And if I've not used anything, reasonably, recently, then I forgot what the hell to do with that. But I want to. I can't remember which one of these I use now. This is the one. I'll have to move that back again now. Right, if I go to, where are we on to? Oh, there we are. Should have lines on this side. Oops. We want to get rid of that one. That's it. Now that should have moved it up enough. Let's put my eraser back. I'll pick that one up again. Can you remember how to do this?
No idea. I'm just looking in wonder at what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's a tool you can use at the top, that's all. When you move to, the difference between the two, you can actually draw a line anywhere you want just by going like that.
And then you line it, yeah.
And then if you think, oh, I've made a mistake, we'll be out again. Yeah.
I just about figured out how to do a table a few weeks ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that was the actual information putting into the table took a quarter of the time, but it's a table in itself that took me the longest to do.
Yeah. Just put onto that. I'll complete that. Also cross-refer Unit 3 as well. Yeah. Okay. So that will do that. I don't want to give you too much. I'll put you too much in too much work to do at this stage. There's plenty to do there. So I'm going to run quickly back over what we've just done.
Okay.
And one of the things we've done there is we've looked at analyse the application of pedagogical principles in your own area of specialism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, there's stuff on the VLE for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's looking at your own teaching principles you use in your day-to-day teaching. Evaluate the effectiveness of use of creative and innovative approaches in your own area. Details from your lesson planning and schemes of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Initial and diagnostic assessments to degree learners' goals, cross-reference. Devise a scheme of work, cross-reference. Copies of ILPs, cross-reference. Feedback and others if you need to add anything for 2.4. But again, it's cross-reference from Unit 1. Again, this is explaining your own practice in planning has taken into account those models that you look at up here. Yeah. And again, you will have evidence in Unit 3. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's that bit. Theories of behaviour management, again, that was not in Unit 3, so it's not a cross-reference. You'll have to add some work for that.
Okay.
Which, as I said, there's stuff on the VLE for you for there.
Okay.
Again, this is a direct reference to Unit 1, 4.3. Add to your response at 3.1. There's also a further reading on safe and inclusive in Unit 1 resources, yeah?
Yes.
Design resources that should be in Unit 1, 5.3, but you need to check a response meets the 2 criteria. Flexibility, adaptability and usage of demonstration, refer to your schemes of work, LPs, and in Unit 1, and explain where this is demonstrated if you did not already cover it there. Again, show how Unit 1, 4.2 is actually applied. Cross-refer 3.5, 3.6, LO1, checking content, plus any records, IV reports, meeting minutes, audio-visual records, psychiatric reports, anything of that nature, yeah?
Yes.
And again, there's some evidence in 8.1, but it only brushes it, but there is sufficient in Unit 3 there to be able to cross-refer some of that evidence.
Okay.
That applies to 4.5. And we'll call it a draw, that, because that's 4 learning objectives to look at, although Unit 2 is almost cross-referenced.
Exactly.
And there are only 7 in this one, which will only leave 5, 6 and 7 to do.
Yes.
And 5's a long one, but 6 and 7 are short ones.
Okay.
So, is there anything else you want to have a chat with before we go? Because as I said, I'll sort the Unit 1 out now. I'll send you that back. What I'll do is, we've got the page numbers in now, so I'll send you that back, and I'll also forward it to registry so that we can look at it.
With the just LO1, the pedagogical principles, with that, so do I just talk about the basic sort of teaching styles that we do for the setting that I'm in at the moment, just like simplified language, how we make sure that it's differentiated to their own needs? Is that what I would speak or talk about in regards to that?
It's the approaches that you use, in teaching children, basically, pedagogical, Okay, what's the adult one now? What's that? I can't remember what the other one is. The adult one's a different name. It sounds pretty similar, but it's not. That's if you're teaching adults,
Okay.
So that's it, basically,
Okay, no, that's fine.
And of course, as usual, if you're stuck with anything, give it a bell, send me a text, drop me a mail. And the learner work is working.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, After, thanks for your visit tonight.
Thank you.
I hope we've got you. That's been some good, and we can move on. And I'll send you stuff over.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'll get that over to you soon as.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.